Hello everyone and welcome back. Fourscore, it's time for more of our Halloween countdown. As I was setting up, trying to figure out all the fun little bits I was gonna do for this episode, this random ginger walked by and I said, hey, you wanna see what's behind this spooky door of possibly deadly things?
And I'm not random ginger.
And here we are. As you can see from the smoke in the sky behind us, the danger is very real as well as fictional today, so let's laugh about it all together. So, without further ado, let's find out. Yeah. If you don't mind, random ginger. Oh! The bag holds
Pennywise from It.
All right, and now it's time for the shuffling. Da-da-da. Today we'll be talking about the original movies that came out in 1990. The original clown himself was played by none other than the fantastic madman Tim Curry. I love Tim Curry.
He's an amazing actor.
Easily in my top 3 of actors. I mean, come on, timeless classics like Clue,
Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Muppet Treasure Island. He was the bad guy in both Fern Gully and Scooby-Doo, the Witch's Ghost. Because Tim Curry's just an amazing bad guy. He seems like a really cool dude, but he plays an excellent villain. Depressing fact though, Tim Curry only had 17 minutes in the first film, and that is not enough Tim Curry time. It's a great movie. Everyone loves Friends, especially when you don't have that many friends. When you are a loser. And when you're a loser, you get the opportunity to make an ironically named club. So when an evil space monster with a serious clown fetish shows up in the 60s and starts trying to kill the only friends you got, what do? That's right, defeat them in a psychic showdown. After, of course, spending at least an hour running away from him in terror, because scary, man. Big teeth, chomp chomp. Familiar faces grace the scene in that movie, such as Seth Green and John Ritter. They're just a couple of the losers that found their way into our hearts. Did you know that there's an Indian remake called Whoa? It's pretty funny. If you haven't heard of it or seen it, go check it out because it's worth it. As it went with several books that were turned into movies that Stephen King wrote, he was not involved in the film hardly at all. He wasn't present. Probably still prowling around New England. And it seems interesting to me how that happens from time to time. Big businesses buy out the rights and then they just kind of go off kilter a little bit. And you get this movie that's mostly what they wanted, but may not express everything. I don't know if you've seen the Dark Tower movie that came out recently, but that is a whole nother can of worms that we got to get into at some point, guys, because there are a lot of things that I could say about the newer one, but I feel like there's going to be this time in the future for us to do that. So that leads us directly into our questions section for today. And Tim Curry, I really hope I see you in the comments below. It would mean a lot. All right, so the first question that I have today is, are you afraid of clowns?
No, not at all.
I'm not afraid of clowns. Are you afraid of clowns?
Probably about 60% of the people that are watching this.
Yeah, probably shuddering as we ask. You know, it's a surprisingly common fear considering I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, I guess it has a lot to do with not understanding the unknown, having this weird dressed up creature approach you. A lot of animals in nature will use brightly colored things and puff themselves up to seem more aggressive and hostile and scary. So if you see this big puffy painted up creature running towards you, it might throw you off, especially when you're a child because everything's bigger than you when you're a child. It seems like that's where a lot of this fear takes place too. There are a lot of people too who say they've had more unfortunate circumstances. We had discussed previously how back in the day a lot of the clowns came from the circus, which were people often scooted to the outskirts of society and taken in. A lot of the times when you have people who have that sort of circumstances in their life, they may not be super nice, and they will be vengeful, and they will be often alcoholics even.
Yeah.
With substance abuse comes unpredictability. And this seems to resonate true with a lot of people who have had unfortunate circumstances with these characters of confusion. Something to think about. So we named a couple of them. Which one is your favorite loser?
I would have to say Richie is my favorite loser.
Richie was excellent. I often enjoyed a lot of his witty banter and his ability to say what's on his mind without filter.
That could have been his downfall a couple of times.
Yeah, it definitely got him into trouble.
In most horror movies, you need that comical guy to balance out a little bit of the horror. This way they have pastime of laughter.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. A lot of scary movies will try to add in the comical effect, and as I thought about that, I thought it's probably because when you try too hard to go too scary with things, you often lose yourself oversaturating and you go over budget. And then you're trying to make each scare scarier than the last scare and you push it. You push the envelope too far and you oftentimes end up ruining a good thing. My favorite loser, and the one that I feel most in tune with, is Bill. Bill had that righteous save the group mentality where he just wants to do good and help. And that was me from a very, very young age. I just wanted to do good things and help people because I loved seeing everyone around me smile. It's also a fun fact that I had a real bad speech impediment when I was short and small. I had this problem with repeating myself even. So whenever I see him stagger through stuttering and just pushing his way through, I'm like, hey, I feel you, man. I know your pain. Don't give up. You could do this. All right, next. It's probably just a very honest answer because I think everybody has wanted to at one time or another. Have you ever wanted to visit a haunted house?
Yes, I have.
Very much, right?
Very much. So much that it's scary.
You go to the ones that they make up, you know, the Halloween walks, and those are cool too. And you have the guy with the chainsaw jump out and sometimes trip and crash through a wall, depending on how well their employees are. But it's a whole different thing when you have an actually haunted house where people have died and the ghosts roam about freely. It's great. I want to visit lots of them. Haunted houses, haunted mansions, haunted cemeteries, give them to me. If you know of any that you've been to that you think I should go to, stumble around in the dark in and just kind of make a mess of things, go ahead and write them in the comments as well because I want to make a list of those and you can watch it. Last but definitely not least, if you were to pick one, what would be your clown name?
Mr. Giggles.
Mr. Giggles? What's the reason for Mr. Giggles?
Because I can do a really, really evil clown laugh when I want to.
Solid reasoning. My clown name would be Patches the Klutzy Fool, and I would be the most graceful clown you have ever seen. There would be all sorts of gags where I would have people come crash into me or knock into me or I would trip over things, and I would roll and recover. Which also means that I would have to do a lot of slapstick heavy practice, so hours and hours a day would be people crashing into me and beating me up, which seems like the kind of work that I should be doing, right?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Crash test dummy.
I have the IQ for it. Thanks for stopping by, everyone, and remember that even if you're a loser, it's okay, 'cause we all float down here.